While most visitors to Japan would make a beeline to popular cities like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, there is a hidden Japan that is yet to be on the tourist map for foreign visitors. Tohoku originates in the northeast of Honshu, the largest island in Japan. It is a real hidden gem. Its landscape is defined by the stunning natural beauty of mystical mountains, volcanic lakes, hot springs, and farmland. This is where the soul of Japan lives, in a traditional religious culture where ancient mountain worship is still very much active. Against this backdrop, we embarked on an epic journey through a land full of samurai, shoguns, and shugendo. It is a full range of animism with influences of Buddhism, Shintoism, and Taoism. In essence, it is about strengthening the bond between man and nature. They believe nature is a manifestation of the gods, and respect this deep reward. The spiritual power of nature is also very telling of feng shui, where the natural landscape is treated as dragon veins that should not be disturbed, and buildings should be built in harmony with the flow of nature. Dec'16 and the Three Sacred Mountains. Mountains and forests are of paramount importance here. The Dec'16 Mountains, Mount Haguro, Mount Gassan, and Mount Udono, are revered as three of the most sacred mountains in the region. The followers, known as Shugenjas or Yamabushi, have been following the rites of worship for the last 1,400 years. This worship is about a long pilgrimage and the practice of austerities, physical endurance of natural elements as an ascetic rite of passage to gain spiritual power. We had the privilege of experiencing an immersive ceremony of the Yamabushi. First, by treading the path of the pilgrims and visiting the three sacred mountains, starting with Mount Haguro, followed by Mount Gassan and Mount Udono. Our shugendo skills were not up to scratch for hiking the mountains, and like the soft city slickers that we were, we traveled by car. This journey began when we arrived at Mount Haguro. After a short visit to the Idiha Museum nearby to get an insight into shugendo and the Dec'16, we entered the sacred site through the torii, a wooden gateway that is found in all sacred sites in Japan. A flight of stone steps known as the Ishidan leads down into an enchanting forest with towering cedar trees along the ancient pilgrim road. The 1.7 kilometers trail, built in 1648, has 2,446 steps leading to the Sanjin Goseiden Shrine. At the same time, there are 33 carvings on the steps, and it is believed that if you can find all 33, your wishes will come true. 33 is a sacred number in most religions. As we were pressed for time, we could only follow the secret path as far as the 600-year-old Gojinotu, the 5-story pagoda. It is a national treasure. The atmosphere of the pagoda exuded an air of mystery that led to the belief that the deities lived along the way. There are shrines to the gods that will protect humans against evil spirits that may lurk in the forest. When we arrived, we were ushered into a room with black and white checkered tatami mats and white shoji screens. It sounded like a coin shop as a welcome, and what a welcome it was. After observing the procedure of cleansing our hands with water at the water trough before entering a shrine, we were shown into the shoden, the inner sanctuary of the temple. Among us in the ceremony room, a priest performed a special ceremony by beating a drum, followed by a prayer to the Sanjin Goseiden while wafting a white paper wand attached to a ringed staff before the shrine of the three deities of the sacred mountains. It enchanted our minds and the world. This was followed by a powerful energy in the ambience. We felt blessed as we both twice clapped our hands, bowed twice, and bowed once more, concluding the ritual spiritually reborn. The night at the temple lodging, or shakubo, was gracious. We were led to a Japanese room to sit on the floor with food. The delightful room was immaculately clean, and the decor was strongly personalized, exactly what we needed after a long journey. We were served delicious shojin ryuri delicacies in small dishes. The meal was served on a tray with dishes of pickles, mountain vegetables, a small pot of grilled food, and a bowl of miso soup. A circuit of food was put on a small table, which was the only furniture in the traditional ambience. I would highly recommend the shakubo to experience the agency of my early morning. The next morning, a priest performed a morning blessing for us with a full ceremony, chanting mantras and wishing us a safe journey to Mount Gassan and Mount Udono. We headed into the mountains amidst howling wind and rain. To visit the shrine, which was officially closed for this year, we braved the elements by treading carefully on the powerful wooden way across bamboo and grass. After a 20-minute walk, we reached a small shrine presided over by a giant stone. There were stone tablets marking significant sites. It seemed like the path to the gods. It was that short journey in inclement weather that seemed to come with a message. I'm pretty good with the mini shrines, and they can also hide the path to Mount Udono, the last mountain on the holy journey. I always see Mount Udono as an epic experience where you respond to secrecy by the truth about the ceremony of rebirth. It seemed like the spirits were forbidden to reveal the secret of the rebirth, but to say that the experience is something I will always remember. Mount Udono was particularly spectacular with autumn colors when we were there, and you can feel the spirituality of the place. The One-Eyed Dragon. On the park on Aoba Hill overlooking Sendai City, the largest city in Tohoku, stands the statue of a samurai on a horse, commanding all in black armor and a helmet crowned with a golden crescent moon. Lord Dec'16, 1567–1636, is a figure celebrated in Japan as the most famous daimyo, feudal lord, of the 16th and the early Edo period, 1603–1868. He is the founder of Sendai. Where the castle once stood, there are now ruins with the remnants of the foundation. As a child, he was ravaged by smallpox and lost his right eye. He earned the name of Dokugenryu, the One-Eyed Dragon. He achieved many victories in his quest for influence. He was only 14 years old when he fought alongside his warrior father, Dec'16, against the rival Soma family. He was a formidable leader who expanded his rule by building alliances and relationships with neighbors. His enemies feared his point with the warriors who took no prisoners in battle, or he slaughtered all the inhabitants of the places he conquered. Despite his reputation, he was a learned and cultured man who was a visionary and diplomat. He encouraged foreigners to visit his domain in Oshu, the present-day Tohoku. He was eager to learn foreign technology and ideas from them. He was more forward-looking than most foreigners at the time. He was receptive to traders and Christians. When the Tokugawa shogunate were taking steps to ban Christianity, he found an expeditionary envoy known as the Keicho Envoy Mission and appointed his retainer, Heisukura Tsunanaga. With 180 people, they set off on the trade and diplomatic mission to Rome to establish a relationship. They were granted an audience with Pope Paulus V and King Felipe III of Spain through Mexico. We visited the Spanish galleon, the San Juan Bautista, using European shipbuilding technology. The museum is a treasure of adventure about the Keicho mission and other historical facts about Sendai. Before leaving, we visited the resting place of Dec'16, the Zuihoden, located in a peaceful forest on the hill. The magnificent tomb is built in the unique architectural style of the Momoyama period, 1573–1603. It is in a mature color of black and accentuated by bright colors, predominantly gold with intricate woodwork. It was destroyed in World War II in 1945, but a replica of the original building was built in 1979. Members of the Date family were also buried on both sides. We remember the memory of his faithful retainers who committed suicide, known as Junshur, when the master died. Out of loyalty, he is immortalized in films, anime, and video games. His name is synonymous with being a badass character. The Last Samurai. The last trek took us to Aizu Wakamatsu, or Aizu for short, the historical castle town known as the Land of the Last Samurai. It was a major political center of the region and renowned for its manager and samurai commanders who were very loyal. It was the location of a civil war between the shogunate and the imperial forces, known as the Boshin War in 1868. It was a power struggle which transformed modern Japan. Although the Aizu clan fought bravely, holding on in a siege at Tsuruga Castle against the new weapons of guns and cannons of the Meiji government, it became the scene of the last battle of the samurai. After the Meiji government banned the samurai, the town went from the era of castles to reconstruction. In 1965, the castle was reconstructed and houses a great museum charting the history of the samurai culture and the Boshin War. Aizu is also on the pilgrimage trail of the famous 33 Kannon Buddha temples in the region. Kannon is the goddess of mercy, similar to the Chinese manifestation of Guanyin. We visited a few temples in the area. Most structures were amazing and were located in the forest. We attempted to complete the circuit of the temples in devotion. Along the way, we visited Uchijuku, a cultural museum in the town of Shimogo on the ancient trade route of the Edo period. A few travelers passed this way to see the replica of the old post town with its thatched roof buildings and shops selling food. We ate in a quaint Takato soba restaurant with course noodles. They serve it with a leek at the end to scoop the noodles instead of chopsticks. It was a real challenge, and we eventually resorted to using chopsticks as a backup. It was a fitting and amazing journey in Tohoku. We walked in the area and enjoyed the beautiful scenery around the lake. I saw that frog in the water. Lake Inawashiro is a popular place for recreation for the local people. The lake is the lifeline of the area by providing water for hydroelectricity. As my eyes took in the beauty of the lake, the words of the famous 17th century haiku poet Matsuo Basho came to my mind. He traveled this narrow road to the deep north. His journal about traveling the north of Japan included a deep salute to that sentiment.